I think we saw that video about playfulness and about being a child again. And we're going to start the conference by playing a game. And a game is no fun unless all of us play. So I'm going to explain to you what the game is going to be. And you will have to follow me and be playful in that activity. So that's not only for you in this room and in our other room, Maple, but also every one of you who is joining us through the virtual conference. I will also invite you to play this game as well. So the first thing you need is a piece of paper. So I want to request you all to have a piece of paper handy. If you don't have one, you can borrow one. Okay? The second tool that you will need will be a pen or a pencil or anything to write with. Again, if you don't have one, you can borrow one. Now the next thing you need is a neighbor. So look to your right, look to your left, and you will have somebody sitting next to you. Either you know that person already, maybe a colleague or a friend, maybe somebody you met today morning, or maybe somebody you haven't met before. So this is the opportunity to introduce each other. For some of you who are joining us through the virtual track, whether you're seeing it from home or you're seeing it from office, find a colleague or somebody around you who you can see. The trick here is that you should be able to see the person. All right, so everyone has a neighbor. Can I see a raise of hands? Okay, great. Okay, so the game is called, this is a very important part. The game is called Draw Your Neighbor. Okay? Now, as you can see, it's self-explanatory. So that really cuts my time much shorter. You're going to have 30 seconds to draw your neighbors. Okay? So because the time is constrained, I of course won't expect that drawing to be that level of detail, just a rough drawing. Yeah? So time starts now. Over to you. Okay, 10 seconds down. So carry on. I can hear a lot of giggling, some level of discomfort as well, somewhere. Okay, 12 more seconds. Okay, last 5 seconds. So now speed up all the final touches. Make sure that, you know, the major elements of the face must be there. Okay, so time is up. Now what I need you to do next is to show your drawing to your neighbor. Okay? Yeah, so Raja Singh, do you have insurance? I can hear a lot of, I'm really sorry about this. Yeah? Okay? Yeah? Okay. So let me ask you a question. How many of you in this room have children at home? Okay? How many of you have either very close family or friends who have children? Okay. So all of us are surrounded by children directly or indirectly. So you will reflect with me when a child does a drawing and he shows it or she shows it. The amount of pride. Look at my drawing. I did a drawing of you. And there's that satisfaction and that pride of one's effort, right? And Kevin, the IDEO founder, uses this exercise, and he always reflects about as we grow as adults, we kind of lose that playfulness to be proud of the work we do, especially work we do for the first time. And we are more scared about the judgment and what people think about our work. And sometimes that's really what stops us from trying new things. So what we're going to do today and tomorrow with this conference is really trying to wear that hat in the next 2 days and really keep ourselves in that zone of exploration. And I'll tell you what was behind our conference design very briefly. In the last 4 years, when we reflect about what's happening around us, one of the very important keywords that keep coming is this whole piece about exponential growth of science and technology. And we will hear this, believe me, across the 2 days. even though we've told the speakers that don't set too much context because the context is set, but you will hear that a lot in the next 2 days. And I'm going to tell you a quick story about how difficult it is for the mind to wrap around itself on what's going on around us. So there's this story, the legend of the inventor of the chess game, and how he went to a king, and the king was so impressed about the innovation that this person had done that he said, you ask for any reward that you may want, and that will be granted. So that gentleman thought, and he said, you're very kind, king. And he thought and said that, you know what I want is 1 grain of rice for the first square, and I want that to be double in the second square, so it becomes 2 grains of rice, and then on the third square again, double it, so it becomes 4 grains, until you cover the 64 squares of the chessboard. And the king said that, that's such a ridiculous request, and of course he granted it, thinking that that man was a fool. Little he knew that actually if you calculate, you will need 1,000 times more rice than what's available today on Earth, and it will be as big as the mountain of Everest. So I think the point here is about intuition can't really comprehend what's going around us. And while all of us know what's happening at the rate of change in technology, somewhere at the back of the mind, I think we can also be like that king, because we are probably underestimating the effects that may have. Give you some data about science and technology innovation. The rate of growth of patents has been doubling every 19 years. So go back to the chess example and imagine how fast that's growing. The number of PhDs is also doubling, approximately around the same rate. It's actually every 18 years. Today, there are more scientists alive, if you do the calculation of roughly between somebody who's 25 to 70 or so on and so forth. There are more scientists alive today than in the whole history of science. And this is very interesting. In the last 200 years, we've actually invented a lot more than in the last 2,000 years. Now, what does that really mean from human capital perspective? And I think most of you are aware of the McKinsey leadership report that talks about the talent paradox. On the one hand, we will see 40 million fewer available talent when it comes to tertiary education, 45 million fewer when it comes to secondary education, especially in developing economies. And on the other side of the paradigm, we will have 95 million people who will not get jobs. So on the one hand, as employers, we will struggle to find the right talent, and on the other hand, there'll be a huge amount of population that are not skilled and not ready to join the workforce. Now, what is it that we can do to be able to overcome those challenges? And I want to share 3 stories that have inspired me. And those stories are just a way for us to reflect about the kind of mindset that those leaders who took those decisions went through. The first story is, what if you could actually build a building, a 57-story building in just 19 days? There's a company in China, it's called, just can't remember right now, Broad Group. Look at the paradigm shift. They realize that we don't have the talent for that particular amount of days. What if we actually pre-construct the floors, wherever we are, and actually we just use the time on site to assemble them? What does that mean from talent perspective? It's a huge paradigm shift. What if your employees could be 80 times more productive? Which company do you think that is? It's actually a hotel chain in a way, but not really. Which company do you think it may be? Yeah, Airbnb. So Airbnb employee books 80 times more on average rooms than a regular hotel. Why? Because they use their extended host as an extended team, right? This is one of my favorite. What if you could actually have access to the best talent and not even pay them? And this is not an NGO. Who does that? Say again? Uber pays their extended workforce. This is a company called Hyperloop Technologies. I don't know how many of you have heard of Hyperloop. Hyperloop, how many of you have heard of Hyperloop? So Hyperloop is the 5th mode of transportation. What they're trying to do is actually pick up a lot of the technologies that already exist in aerospace and in ferrovial technologies and put it all together to actually compress a train into a tube, which they will actually remove the pressure, and hence there will not be friction, and you'll be able to go a lot faster. Now, this company, when they started, Elon Musk told the world that I don't have the time to do this, so any entrepreneur is free to take this idea, which, by the way, wasn't really his, because that's from the 18th century this has been happening. This company said, I really don't know how much money I will need. I don't want to raise capital because I don't know how long my technology will take. What if I could actually crowdstorm? And they created a platform through technology to get access to talent. And in lieu of their time, they actually compensate people through equity. Look at the innovative way. For every 10 hours that you put together, and they have 170 people, the best talent from around the world working with them for equity. So I'm sharing these ideas with you just for us to reflect about how important it is to think about our job, not as HR practitioners, but really about product leaders. I think when you have that mindset shift between a functional individual and really looking at yourself as a product leader, you think differently. You think about the problem. You think about how do you diverge, converge, and prototype. And that cycle continues. And we will see a lot of those examples in the next 2 days. But there's one more thing you need. Besides playfulness, which we have covered, there's one more thing you need. What could that be? Anybody? Curiosity, very nice. Thank you. Anybody else? Damage control, okay. That comes a bit later. If you start with damage control, then it's like, okay, what else? Yeah, willing to fame, very nice.
Focus.
Engagement, focus, more. Passion. Openness, appreciation, more. Authenticity, beautiful, all of them. Backbenchers. Agility, creativity, innovation, execution. I'm still looking for my word. Let's see quickly. Technology, very nice. Being proactive. These are all absolutely correct. Huh? One more at the back. Say again. Empathy. User experience. So we are all getting closer to what I was trying to share. And I'll tell you this story of a leader, Shrikant Bree, from the CHRO of Airtel, who came to address our group a few weeks ago. And he gifted us a beautiful thought. He said that it's really about experiences. It's experiences that helps us connect those dots. It's experiences that helps us go away from the linear thinking. Because eventually you need to draw from something that you have either experienced before, and it doesn't have to be work, it can be anything. So he shared this quote, a beautiful quote with all of us, saying a lot of people haven't had enough diverse experiences. So they don't have enough dots to connect. When you have not experienced enough, or you don't set yourself to experience enough, you don't have enough dots to connect. Such a beautiful way to put it. And hence you go back to your linear thinking. You will do what you have seen before, but you don't have enough inventory of dots to connect. The broader one's understanding of human experiences, the better design we will have. And remember, all of us in this room are designers of solutions for our businesses, for our organizations. What we've tried to do in the next 2 days is actually create that gamut of experiences for all of you. So if you've seen the agenda, there is a lot that is going to be happening, and not only our sessions, which are the formal sessions, panel discussions, keynotes, great learning, but a lot of very diverse speakers this time, a lot of artists, musicians, stand-up comedians, dancers, choreographers, because we really want to bring that diversity of experience to all of you. So what I'll request you is, don't look at People Matters TechHR as a conference. Look at People Matters TechHR as an experience, and join us in making it a memorable one. Thank you very much.